Well, welcome back to the homestead. Our last episode, we had just finished staining and polyurethane our floors, and we had called our cabinet guy to come start installing the cabinetry. So he's still working on cabinetry, and I'm going to start working on putting my interior doors in. Now, the doors that I've chose to go with are a solid wood door, and it's just a standard 6-panel door. And these are from Reliabuilt. Now, they come pre-hung with a casing, but there's no exterior trim like you see on a lot of doors. It comes with it, which is good for me because we actually want a custom trim. And if these had came with the trim around the casing, we'd have just had to pull that off and throw it away, and it would be waste. So this actually fits my needs really well. The only thing I don't like on these doors is the door stop. So when the door comes in, the little piece of molding that goes around the casing that the door touches, for my taste, these door stops are a little bit thin. And the one or two doors that I've looked at already, the door stop is not straight. So the door stop's warped, and you've got like a, let's say, a curve on that, and then your straight door comes in, you have a gap. So it'll be touching up here and down here, but a gap in the middle, or vice versa. So the way I like to install doors is I pull the door stops off anyway, and I drill countersunk holes into the casing and screw the casing directly to the rough opening. And then I come back and reinstall that door stop over the top of those screws so that all of the screws are completely hidden. I know there's other methods, and they're probably, well, they're definitely a lot faster than this method, where you buy like a little triangular metal bracket and screw it into the casing, and then you screw it into the wall. But that's not my preferred method. So we're going to use just standard wood shims and some, I think I've got 3-inch wood screws that we're going to install these doors with, and see if we can't get that knocked out. But once we get the doors installed, I'll be replacing the door stops with something else, and then we'll be putting our own molding around the outside of the casing. And once all that's done, they'll be ready to paint. So let's go ahead and get started on the project and see if we can get this door in. Okay, so you can see I've got the door sitting in the frame, and I've just used a clamp on the top 2 corners to clamp that flush with the sheetrock on both ends so that the door won't fall out either direction. And then I've placed a couple of shims under the edge of the door to hold the door open and up off of the floor. Now, with the door clamped into position, I'm pretty much ready to start attaching it now. And I've gone ahead and I've taken a 6-foot level and I've put on this casing. This is flush or tight up against the 2x4 opening. And according to the 6-foot level, the bottom has to come out maybe, I don't know, maybe 1/8 of an inch. And this will be plumb or vertical. So what I need to do is go ahead and drill and attach up here. And then I'll use the level to ensure that when I put these next 2 in, these next 2 are shimmed out so that they're perfectly in line with this top, and they're plumb to the wall here, or flush with the wall. So let's go ahead and get our drill. We'll go ahead and drill our screw hole here. Now, my preferred place to anchor these, if this is fairly straight and I'm going to be up tight next to it like this one is, I like to put a screw in the middle of each one of the hinges, or even with the middle of each one of the hinges, to firmly transfer the weight of the door into the 2x4 studs that I'm attaching to. Once I have these attached, I like to go back and pull one of the screws for the hinges out and actually use a 3-inch wood screw in that as well, so that I have 2 screws at the level of each one of the hinges, and one of those screws is actually in the hinge, transferring the weight of the door to this wall. So let's go ahead and start on that and see if we can get that done. All right, so now that I've got all the doors hung and they're all shimmed in correctly for the casing, I pulled the door stop out of them because I didn't really like the stop that was used. It was very thin and it wasn't very straight. It was kind of warped. So I pulled all that out and I'm going to replace it with a slightly thicker door jamb, and it's got a little bit of a detail on the side there. I don't know if you can get that to focus. Anyway, there's a little bit of a decorative edge on this. So now that the doors are hung, I've gone ahead and I put a knob on it so that the door will close. And I don't know exactly where to nail this up flush against the door. And we're just gonna go around and trim all the doors out like that. All right, so that's going to finish up today's video. We've got all our interior doors hung, gone ahead and put knobs in them, and that allowed me to find the closure spot of the door and reinstall my door stop. Like I said, the door stop that came on these casings was very thin and I didn't like it. I didn't like how they did the butt joints up at the top corners. So we replaced it with a little bit upgraded trim and did 45s on it. I think it looks a lot better. But at any rate, the next thing I need to be working on these doors is the trim that goes around the casing, and that's gonna take me a little bit of doing. She doesn't want just a standard trim, so it's gonna be a 2, 4, 6, like a 7-piece. No, actually 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-piece trim that goes around the door. So it's a little bit more ornate than typical door trim, and I am not a trim guy, so it's going to probably take me quite a while to get those done if I'm even able to make them actually look good. So we're going to get a little bit of material and give it a shot, but I don't have the material on site right now. So that's about all I can do for today's video. And I know it's been a long time since I uploaded a video, but we had kind of a conglomeration of things that happened. We had a snowstorm come through and we were snowed in for about a week. Our cabinet guy brought cabinets out and scattered them out throughout the house to install, and then there were a couple of them that were wrong, and that held him up from being able to install them, which meant I didn't have room to set up my saw inside to work. Plus my role at my normal job has changed a little bit, and I've been working a lot of overtime to get up to speed on that new requirements that I have there. So there just hasn't been a lot of progress on the house lately. I'm hoping that that's going to change and that we'll be able to get a couple of videos out on a regular basis here. The cabinets are almost done. I would imagine probably by the end of this coming week that they will be done. And then probably 3 to 4 weeks after that, we should have the countertops done, the sinks installed, and the faucets installed. So hopefully 3rd or 4th week of March, we'll have countertops and sinks and everything in. And in the meantime, I'll be working on door trim and baseboards and window casings. So that's where we are right now, and we're trying to push through and get this stuff wrapped up. And to be honest with you, I'm getting really excited about getting moved in, and we're actually considering maybe just hiring somebody to come in and do some of this trim work for me that can do it throughout the week while I'm working, and just get it finished up and let us go ahead and get moved out here. Not sure how much that's going to cost and whether it's in our budget or not, so we'll see whether I do all of the trim work or whether I am able to hire that out and just go ahead and get this done so we can move. But at any rate, I'll keep you up to date on that, and in the meantime, I'm gonna continue plugging along until we decide whether or not we're gonna hire somebody or not. So until next time, y'all just keep checking back.